Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. Register and get your share of reserve tokens. XRP token allocation program registration opens today, guys. Beware if you're getting this email because it is a scam. I wanted to bring it to your attention just in case you or somebody you know got one of these emails. The Ripple Foundation is rewarding token holders based on their network activity and growing its user base with the token allocation program. I have never heard anything of this, and I'm sure within the XRP community we probably have if this was a legitimate thing. So just be careful, guys. This is a scam. I just wanted to mention that, courtesy of Mike Manfield here, just letting us know that this is in fact a scam. They want our crypto, whether it's hackers or the powers that be. I mean, they are trying tooth and nail to remove us from our precious cryptocurrency. And as you guys can see, as of the time of this recording at least, this is the total to the altcoin market. You can see we've come down a little bit, and right now, here, let me just draw a fresh circle on here. Right now, we are forming support right down in here, 503.8 billion for the total altcoin market, forming support similar to what we saw back in mid-March. So bouncing off this level of support here, we can see that level even dip down back in here before moving back up. Back in October, it moved up, and then, of course, we got the FTX announcement, which brought the crypto market to new lows. But guys, we are moving higher and finding support down in here. A great opportunity to accumulate more cryptocurrencies if your cost average is not down low enough. Again, not financial advice. And diversifying, guys, into different cryptocurrencies. That's what I'm doing in this bull run. I am offering you guys an insight onto what my trades are going to be. On my Patreon, it is only $5 a month. And now, since the market is low, these are great times to be, accumulating down cost averaging, maybe some positions that, you purchased at a higher price. You can find me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel if that is your thing. And because cryptocurrency utility is, kind of on the precipice right now, we are seeing sociopolitical signs of this occurring before our eyes. Well, indirectly at least, 20 new countries apply to join the Brics alliance. Now, the Brics countries, one of the major reasons why they're doing this is for trade, international trade, circumventing the SWIFT system, and deciding what to do on their terms. With the BRICS summit on the horizon, expansion is set to be a vital talking point. Moreover, as interested nations continue to grow, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov says that 20 new countries have applied to join the BRICS alliance. So the BRICS alliance not getting any smaller. The bloc has been growing in prevalence over the past several months. Now its appeal has seemingly reached a fever pitch. Subsequently, the August summit is set to observe unfolding disclosure regarding the membership process for a host of countries. And because we have new technology, right? DLT technology, for example, we are seeing organizations like BRICS become stronger because the reliance on the U.S. greenback, a lot of that was tied to the SWIFT system, but now that these countries are creating their own system, like, for example, the Russia-China thing, they're creating their own version of SWIFT, and I think a lot of these other countries are doing the same. Now that that is no longer the issue, the barriers have been removed, and these countries can, in fact, trade in their local currencies if they so choose, or trade in anything. You've got the UAE, they're very rich in oil. You've got Russia, who's very rich in gold, for example, right? Or India, rich in gold, or, other commodities, other kinds of things that you can trade with. Well, you can digitize all that, tokenize all that on something like the XRP ledger. So it makes sense for these countries to, decide, okay, we want to trade together. Our ideologies are similar. We're not in conflict with one another. And so, yeah, let's leave the US behind. This is the ideology behind this, guys. And this is why, for example, the tokenization of things is going to be really, really important moving forward, and why companies like Ripple and cryptocurrencies like XRP are really going to thrive. But on top of that, guys, to throw a bit of a wrench in the mix, we got word the other day that an activist group is announcing plans to take down the entire European banking system in the next 48 hours. Now, this was interesting. I didn't pay much attention to this yesterday. However, it's looking more and more like a reality. Check this out here.
We are Anonymous Sudan. Today, we are a direct threat to all European banks. European banks, you will soon be witnessing the most powerful cyber attack in the recent history of the world. Be prepared, because when we strike, it will be too late to make amends. Many European banks will be targeted and we will hit without mercy.
World has gone mad. The reason for this is money. If God rules Russia, then who rules Europe? That's right, the banking system. No money, no problem. Revel is sufficiently familiar with the European financial infrastructure. See you soon.
This is not a DDoS attack. Games are over. We call on all active groups to engage in destructive activities against the European banking system. No money, no weapons, no Kiev regime. This is the formula for the death of Nazism, and it will work. Within 48 hours we are launching this global company. Nothing will save you, and this is not a warning. I am just informing you. You have never seen such problems before. We are killing it.
So that's ominous right at the end there. They put the date as, what was it? June something 2023. We don't know what date it's going to be. I mean, they said it was going to be within 48 hours, and they were supposed to have attacked the European banking system, which in fact includes the SWIFT system. And so, guys, what did happen yesterday? A coincidence? Mario Nafal bringing this up. Breaking: U.S. government agencies hit by cyber attack. Multiple Fed agencies have fallen victim to a cyber attack that exploited vulnerabilities in software they used. The full extent of the attack remains unclear as the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency investigates the breach. This incident is just one of many recent cyber attacks that have been targeting various U.S. universities and state governments. So we're seeing a slew of cyber attacks, guys. A Russian-speaking hacking group known as CLOP. So let me just reiterate, this is not the same organization that claimed here in this video, coincidentally, just a day or two ago. Not the same organization. However, if you guys did notice in this video, there were three organizations that were saying that they're going to be responsible for these bank attacks. This one is saying that they're CLOP. They claim responsibility for some of the past attacks. However, it remains uncertain whether they are accountable for the latest breach in this series of attacks. And they're blaming it here on a Chinese hacking group named Volt Typhoon. That was the name dropped by Microsoft in the past for compromising critical U.S. cyber infrastructure across numerous industries with a focus on gathering intelligence. The ability of foreign entities to breach some of the most critical databases in the U.S. raises alarming concerns.
CNN is reporting that, quote, several U.S. federal government agencies have been hit with a global cyber attack. Now, this attack exploits a vulnerability in widely used software. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency said that they are working urgently to understand impacts and ensure timely remediation. It's not immediately clear if the hackers are part of a Russian-speaking ransomware group that has claimed credit for a number of other situations in the hacking campaign. We're going to monitor this and certainly keep you updated right here on air and online as we learn more about this.
Interesting. Darren Moore also picking up on this. Last night, Russian hackers threatened to take down the European banks and SWIFT. Today, we witnessed one of the largest hacks, including U.S. agencies and universities. Cyber attack would be the perfect excuse, the emergency that they needed. So that is a thought too. Is it a tactic for diversion? Set your sights over here, focus on this while the European banking system becomes attacked in the next 48 hours, let's say.
Good evening, Nora. A senior U.S. government official told reporters there is no evidence to date the U.S. military and intelligence agencies have been compromised, but a number of federal agencies have been hit.
Tonight, senior government officials are racing to limit the impact of what one cyber expert is calling potentially the largest theft and extortion event in recent history. American targets include multiple federal agencies, including the Department of Energy, plus Johns Hopkins affiliated hospitals in Maryland and Florida, Georgia's statewide university system, and the Minnesota Department of Education. British Airways was also hit. Officials say the hackers are part of a cyber criminal gang called CLOP, believed to operate from inside Russia.
They've started releasing some of the data that was stolen as part of their work to extort these companies. We strongly encourage anyone who is a user of this software to, of course, patch, lock down their systems.
The cyber criminals are exploiting a software program called MoveIt, which companies and government agencies use to transfer data, including personal information. The group steals the data, and in this message believed to be from the hackers, warns that if a ransom is not paid, after 7 days, all your data will start to be published, sometimes on the dark web. Cyber expert Brett Callow says foreign adversaries and criminals will be looking to leverage the data.
Overseas governments will no doubt be very interested in obtaining the information that CLOP obtained through these attacks.
The FBI and the government cybersecurity agency last week warned companies to be on alert for this kind of attack. Former intelligence officials told CBS News the threat has been circulating for weeks, and they accused the U.S. government of being slow to act, Nora.
So, I mean, that does get me wondering. Back in 2020, I did this video, Klaus Schwab suggesting that a cyber pandemic was inevitable. And I mean, at that time, we were like, okay, predicting the future? Well, we're getting closer and closer, guys. Listen to this.
But still, pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
Yeah, so that doesn't sound great, does it? And so are we seeing what Klaus Schwab has been predicting? And could this U.S. attack from Klopp just be, one in a series of attacks that, groups that are coming out here? And who was it? Anonymous Sudan? It was 3 groups here. The first one was, Anonymous Sudan. And then the second one was Revel. And then the third one here was Killnet. Okay, so 3 groups working together. I mean, a lot of these groups could be working together. I'm not going to disregard any possibility here. Maybe Klopp was the first distract over here, and then boom, something else happens in Europe 24 hours later or so. And so does this strengthen the argument? And I mean, if we do see this cyber attack on SWIFT, does it strengthen the argument of an XRP RippleNet rollout sooner rather than later? Danny Dark here posting this. This comes not even 24 hours after the cyber threat on SWIFT. This narrative is almost deafening. And Mr. Poole originally wrote, be aware of sudden events, unexpected, world-shattering. And notice here how he isolated the X in unexpected. Not only that, world-shattering is a very strong term, something that Bearableguy also mentioned in a post from, 5 years ago now? And do you guys remember these videos? This was a roundtable discussion these guys had, assuming it was an exercise activity, assuming there could be a cyber attack and the banking system could be at risk. Again, this was from a few years ago, and yep, Gary Gensler was also present at this event.
I think you may have already spent too much time in China.
Breaking news out of Brussels this evening. A cyber attack on SWIFT, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, has resulted in the theft of $3 billion from commercial banks based in Germany, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE.
Again, I just want to reiterate, this was an exercise, so this didn't actually happen. But now that we're getting word that these hackers could attack soon, I think this is more relevant than ever.
Our intelligence agencies assess with moderate confidence that North Korea is behind the attack, potentially with an aim to drive more users to the digital yuan system. At the broader strategic level, the PBOC has been presenting its digital currency infrastructure as an alternative to SWIFT, referring to the traditional payment system as outdated and highly vulnerable to security threats. Over 2 years ago, in 2019, PBOC's Deputy Director of Payments said, "The digital yuan is open for external connection. We are developing it for our trade partners if they want to join. This work is already ongoing and test connections already exist." Chinese authorities claim that the digital yuan infrastructure is fully portable. Countries can create different instances of the system, selecting their own banks and payments providers as network participants and releasing digital forms of their local currencies. In Russia, for example, the central bank, as well as the largest Russian commercial banks, Sberbank, VTB, Gazprom Bank, and so on, could be added as nodes to create a Russian instance with a digital ruble. All nodes within the system would then be able to clear and settle payments in real time, including cross-border transactions. We have been tracking that Russia, Turkey, and Pakistan have been in talks with the Chinese to develop this system and adopt their competing system for their own digital currencies over the past year. We don't yet know if the 3 impacted countries, Germany, Saudi Arabia, and UAE, will also consider connecting to the Chinese system.
Given what we've just seen happening with SWIFT, we have to come to terms with the fact that U.S. electronic transaction systems have not evolved fast enough to keep pace with the demand for retail online digital payments and more sophisticated types of financial transactions. And they also haven't evolved fast enough to stay secure.
So guys, this is where it gets really interesting here. What they talk about is a more secure system than the SWIFT system, obviously running on DLT technology, something like RippleNet, and the fact that the United States needs something in order to prevent these types of cyber attacks.
Increasingly digital world. The old system just isn't cutting it anymore. And unfortunately, the trajectory of that is that it's just going to keep on getting worse and worse and worse. And so, yes, we see China with the yuan, but you know, the competitiveness of the US dollar is a matter of national security.
Ask Secretary Carter later how much he trusts Mark Zuckerberg handling the US equivalent of a digital currency.
Well, look,
go ahead.
I will say I agree with the Secretary. So, you know, it does not make sense to put our nation's transaction systems in the hands of a private company. However, that does not mean that we should not move forward and that we should not consider a public-private partnership in order to innovate, in order to get our transaction systems up to the level where they can compete on the global stage.
Does Treasury have the capability and technical know-how to successfully implement a digital dollar?
Let me just say, this is not a Kennedy School exercise for us.
That's right.
We've got a staff of 40 people who've been working on this for a long time, who have extensive experience with the relevant interconnections.
Okay. When can we make this happen? If it's a real option, we have to think about implementation.
We will have a new hardened currency, SWIFT system, ready to roll out 6 months from today.
Secretary Summers, are you suggesting that the U.S. create our own digital currency, or just that we work on SWIFT, we stick to our current system, but make SWIFT less vulnerable to cyber threats?
We need to make a secure SWIFT. Look, SWIFT is digital. It's all binary. It's all electronic communication. So there's a question about what the definition, what we mean by that. But my proposal is that we harden SWIFT.
My proposal is that we harden SWIFT. We need a digital SWIFT. Did you hear what he said over here?
We need to make a secure SWIFT.
We need to make a secure SWIFT. And so where do we find that security, guys? Well,
it has a lot of advanced features to provide for security.
That was a clip of David Schwartz talking about the XRP ledger, guys. Bearableguy posted this 5 years ago. I think it was on the Rippled Reddit. Swift's death by 1 billion cuts and why Ripple is needed now. Bangladesh Central Bank loses $81 million to hackers via Swift. That happened over 5 years ago. Karabanek Anunak Group steals up to $1 billion by using Swift. So these were all instances back then where criminals stole money via Swift. And David Schwartz discussing the security of the XRP ledger. Up here it says Ripple will help keep banks safe and transacting in cross-border payments. Billions upon billions of dollars have been hacked and stolen from central banks all around the world. Goes on to say, as the banks and the big players line up to work with Ripple, Ripple's Ragnarok continues to shake the cryptosphere. Ripple is not just XRP. Ripple is a financial earth-shattering worldwide event. So what is it going to be, guys? Work with Ripple and use XRP, or work with R3 and use XRP? This was a choice Swift was faced with back in 2019, and I think it's become very, very clear now that we're seeing more cyber attacks, now that hacker groups are even saying, they're warning us, European banks are coming next. Is it now time to finally get that clarity? Gary, we're looking in your direction here, and unleash the power of RippleNet and XRP to secure the financial systems in the United States. I personally think it's long overdue, but that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.